Okay, so I just want to briefly touch on sales tax. What software should you use? How does that integrate with Zero? How difficult is it to set up this software? So, what I'll say is, first off, if you're on the lower end of the spectrum, let's say under 10,000 a month in gross sales, then sales tax shouldn't be a huge worry for you just yet, in my opinion. And the way I see it is you should probably sign up in your home state, and and beyond that, I think you should keep an eye on how much sales tax you owe different states, and as that rises, you go ahead and sign up in those different states. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I actually have like a little sales tax crash course PDF that I can send your way. Feel free to reach out for that. I'll probably include that with this in the course documents. But suffice to say for now, one thing that you're going to want to do is monitor your sales tax exposure over all your different states, and that's where TaxJar comes in. It's super handy. Costs about 20 bucks a month, saves a lot of time. You can read all the details if you've not heard of TaxJar already, but essentially the connection is super simple. You'll go ahead and connect to Amazon a lot like you did with the A2X accounting tool. That connection is really simple, and what it'll do is it'll start importing all of your transactions, and then you simply run reports each month or each quarter. You run reports, and based off those reports you'll go and file them with the state. And in some cases about half the states you can actually even auto file with TaxJar, so it'll automatically collect. Once Amazon's collecting for you, it will actually run these reports and then remit the sales tax that you collected over to the state. So really, really cool tool, very, very helpful. But in terms of how it integrates with Zero, my recommendation at this time is to not turn on the integration with Zero. And the reason why is because how A2X collects the sales tax and then how TaxJar tracks how much sales tax you collected and should have paid, they're totally two different ways to go about it. So A2X collects on an aggregate level, but the integration with TaxJar sets up holding accounts for all of your different states, and it gets really messy. And my recommendation is don't turn on that integration. If you want more info on how to actually treat sales tax in your day-to-day bookkeeping process, I'll have a module that addresses that in the Zero training course that I also provide in addition. So if you're more curious on the actual details of how to manage the sales tax in the bookkeeping process, go ahead and check out that in the training course. But for now, I'd just say on an integration level, keep that integration off. It'll make your life a lot easier. So that's TaxJar. That's how it works. The other option for you is there's a company called Taxify, and I'll have links to both of these softwares in the course materials. But Taxify, the major point of difference is that it actually does automatic filings or automated filings, I should say, in all 50 states. So whereas TaxJar can only handle about half of the states, FBA states, Taxify can handle all of them. So then again, it's also more expensive. So if I would really recommend this as you get larger and maybe you have to start filing in several states, or it becomes really a burden for you, all the different states that you have to manage this for. If you're in all 15 states, up to 15 states, then I'd maybe recommend Taxify. But when you're on the lower end and you're more just tracking things, go ahead with TaxJar. And then as you get a bit larger in your exposure and several states starts to really grow, Taxify may be something you want to consider. So that's the layout of the land in terms of sales tax software, and ultimately the decision on the route you want to take is up to you, but those are your options.